On March 7, at the opening of Radius, a look at new work by artists working within a geographical radius of the walls, spanning southeast Queensland and northern New South Wales, it was still over there. We could move about in company, speak of next week's plans with certainty, share space, touch one another, feel, briefly, community. As I publish 3 weeks later, the recollection of that gathering over the course of a sticky early autumnal Queensland evening has taken on a tint of blissfully naive rose, or perhaps rosé. Slowly and then, in a steady shower, folks came to fill the Miami Gold Coast parking lot, leaning to chat in clusters, dispersing in a loose teardrop for the smoking ceremony, and welcome to country as we stood on the land of the Yagamba people. Affected as much by the work as by other bodies negotiating it around me, I think now of Marilyn Robinson's question, when do our senses know anything so utterly as when we lack it? The first thing I see, once inside the walls, is Joy as an Act of Resistance by artist Betty RUSS, and I don't know what it is, and it thrills me. A ceramic phallus and a partially fisted ceramic hand thrust upwards from a basin. They emerge from liquid that is candy-coloured, melted ice cream cone, crayon, carnal pink. It is a fountain of sorts, balanced on a toupee of transplanted nature strip. It confounds expectation, peeling back a suburban surface to where the bodies are buried, but not buried deep enough. The work is familiar and yet bizarre, straddling paradox, peeking at the artist's private, ambiguous interiority. Joy as an Act of Resistance is borrowed from the title of English punk band Idol's second album, and resonance only accumulates in Russ's work as, across the cities and burbs alike, panic clenches and anxiety commandeers the wheel. Joy is scant as toilet paper. The hand poses as if to be washed for 20 concentrated seconds on an altar devoted to ablutions as in Exodus. So they shall wash their hands and their feet, that they die not. Adjacently, the phallus dribbles, insect almost, post-human pink, certainly unsanitary. Grimy foam slicks bubbling away like a child's backyard mud pie kitchen. Rumour has it there's vodka in there, but this isn't listed in the specs on the title card. Trying to write from or with the art rather than about it pulls me toward alternative imaginations of place. But this is not an inhabitation through story. No, this exhibition seems decidedly, yet randomly, narrative interruptus. The four artists' work doesn't thematically coalesce, but geographically aggregates. All are affected by similar forces that shape the specific microcosm of the artist's regionality, crowned by the gut-felt global. Sophie Cunningham writes, "Random, the word interests me. As I get older, I no longer try to find meaning in order so much as draw meaning from randomness. I feel this strongly. Things are both random and connected all the time. Leonard Woolf used to say, 'Nothing matters,' by which he meant everything matters. All of it, the lot." If you missed Amelia McLeish's work, now it's in your hands, 3 participatory stacks, then you're just too late. McLeish invites visitors to take a print from a pile in a flurry of ephemera until the plinths are denuded and no trace of the artwork remains. Ephemera was initially a medical term, stemming from the Latin febris or fever. Most participants take from the top, although some finger and shuffle through the stacks until it resembles a card trick with no denouement. A hurried, unsatisfied panic buy. How to make sense, once the action is over, of the resulting lack of artwork when there are only bare shelves. This lack disrupts our comfortable commodification of art practice and the audience's role as consumer, custodian, collector, and patrician conservator. ALARA GEEBUNG Cameron's broken songlines and Finding Our Place speak to a sentient ancestral landscape in which every onlooker's relationship to Indigenous sovereignty is called into question. Songlines are disrupted by dams and roads which unambiguously cleave these works in half. Representations of bulldozers sit atop fish, turtles, eagles, and snakes. The flexibility of natural landscape is regimented, literally, by an oppressive geometric rigidity bearing down. I was born and grew up as a colonizer on the Gadigal land of the Eora Nation, and I try and fail and try again and fail to write about Geebung's work without being simply and ineffectually descriptive. So I turn to Eileen Morton Robinson's excoriating insight into the middle-class white woman who, despite her intentions to be anti-racist, preserves the power structure by recentering whiteness, and instead refer to Olara's self-defined representation of his practice as one of healing and one of translating the stories and the ways of his elders in both contemporary and traditional ways. The light is fading out of the white-walled space, dragging westward away from the salt breeze to our right. People congregate around the art. Upstairs in the mezzanine, there is Lyle Duncan's minimalist installation, an illuminated electric piece, and a brutalist sequence of concrete and glass. Place is dislocated in a gear shift on a hill start. People maintain a respectful distance as they navigate the waltz step of not bumping into each other or knocking over the art. Decontextualized, these unadorned, divorced objects become verbs rather than nouns: block, slab, funnel, light. These pieces are as transient as MCLEISH's, yet they reassure us with their palpable certainty. I'm happy to be here, and to walk downstairs and back into the fragrant nightfall of the Australian East Coast. Audre Lorde's words beckon as I reflect when she relates her capacity for joy as something open and fearless, unlike the common characterization of pleasure and delight as contradictorily essential yet frivolous, a consumer product. Could joy indeed then be an act of resistance? My radius now, as everybody's, is so aborted by limit. Radius, the term, denotes a staff, a spoke of the wheel, a beam, and we are necessarily not rolling anywhere right now. Feeling and working through a conspectus of what we now lack to discover what we sensorially already knew is frustrating. Everything appears isolated, displaced, and granular, yet capable of viral combustion all at once. Nothing matters, which means, counterintuitively, everything matters, and radius has never meant so much.